Out of high school, I just was really lucky to get a job with a guy named Bobby Boris Pickett, who did the Monster Mash. And I was playing with Bobby Boris Pickett, doing the Monster Mash in ghoul makeup at a party. It was a fundraiser to raise money for Phil Kaufman. And somehow I just kind of took to Phil Kaufman. He took to me, and he asked me if I wanted to come up to an Etta James rehearsal. Her guitar player couldn't make a rehearsal. So I got in the back of his equipment truck with my guitar case and went up the hill and played at John Densmore's house and met Etta for the first time. I was 19 years old. And she, at the end of the, I was so nervous, man, I could barely talk. And at the end of the rehearsal, she says, "I like that little white boy." And she had me come and play with her for the next 14 years. Was her musical director and traveled the world with Etta. The cool thing about Etta is she was nice enough and generous enough to let me go and play with other people. Her work was not that consistent at that time. She was just trying to rebuild a career after being a bad little junkie for many years. She called one day and said, "Brian, I'm going out to open with the Stones. You gotta come." And so I just ran home and we did a bunch of dates opening for the Stones. Later on, I started playing with Nicolette Larson, then Laura Branigan. Then I started writing songs, and I started turning my attention to just writing, which I always loved and which I'd done since I was a kid. And I found a writing partner, and we wrote every day, and we wrote a whole bunch of songs, a bunch of mediocre songs, and then we wrote this one song right for Smokey Robinson. We aimed it right for him, and he recorded it and made it the title track of his album and the second single. It was called One Heartbeat. I did this record for a guy named Willie DeVille. He was in a band called Mink DeVille, kind of a new wave, Tom Waits, Elvis Costello kind of time period, kind of flavored artist. And the guy who was the liaison and the producer, the liaison to all these French artists named Philippe Rolt, got me an audition with Mylène Farmer. I won the audition, and along with me, Abe Laboriel Jr. won the audition. Now, what is that, 6 years ago? And Abe was at my birthday party, and he had long since moved on from Johnny Halliday's band to tell me that he's working with Paul McCartney. And I was like, "Oh, dude, I got to shake your hand. That's amazing. Are you kidding me?" And he says, "Yeah." And I said, "Won't you be going out on tour?" And he says, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I know who's playing in the band. You got that keyboard player, and you got Rusty on guitar, you on drums. But Paul's going to switch between guitar and bass and piano. Who's going to take over on bass and play the other guitar? Do you have somebody?" And he goes, "No." I said, "I'd love a shot at that." Abe responded by giving my number to David Kahn, the producer. David Kahn called me and said, "Listen, we're doing one song in the Super Bowl. This is 2002, and we need a bass player. Would you be?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you bet." So he said, "Can you be at my office?" And I got right down there and sat down on a couch and just was talking to him, and he'd hand me a bass and I'd play a little bass, hand me a guitar, play a little guitar, but just basically talking about music and stuff like that. And at the end of it, about 45 minutes later, he goes, "Well, I have a really good feeling about this. I'm going to put your name forward, and we'll see what happens." And I got a call like the next day. "Can you be on a plane tomorrow to go to New Orleans to play a song with Paul McCartney?" So got on a plane the next day and went to New Orleans and met him for the first time. I was so nervous. I walked around the city of New Orleans for about 4 hours just trying to burn off some energy so I'd be somewhat cool. And fortunately it went well, and we had a dinner together, and he was very welcoming and very gracious and very cool. We rehearsed, we did the Super Bowl. At the end of that Super Bowl, 2002, I'm saying goodbye to him because I thought, this is great. I'll probably never see him again. This has been amazing. So I go up to shake his hand and just say, "Paul, I just want to let you know, if I don't get to see you again, that this was an amazing privilege, and I'm just honored." And then I realized I was still holding onto his hand. It was like, okay. And then, but he was just really nice, and he invited me back to the hotel. We were all going back to the hotel. We all go back for some drinks, and he tells some stories, and he plays the piano for the people in the bar. He's just like chilling. And then at the end of the night, he comes up to all of us and gives us a hug goodnight, and he and his then wife were going to bed. And he comes up to Abe and Rusty and gives him a hug, and he comes up to me and gives me a hug goodbye, and he goes, "So Brian, stick with Abe and Rusty, they'll show you the ropes, welcome aboard." And I was like, I came to Abe and I said, "Did he just say what I think he said?" He goes, "Yeah, dude." And so, you know, I had 5 weeks to run home and practice bass and practice singing and practice guitar and start learning some of the songs. I just got a big stack of CDs, and I got a CD player and guitar, bass, acoustic, mic stand, stood up for 5 weeks and just powered away. Just drank coffee and learned Paul songs, you know. That was an amazing night, huh? When night was falling in Red Square and you're looking at, from the stage, the sun has just come down as this sort of incredible orange glow, and the Kremlin and Lenin's tomb are all lit up. And, whew, amazing, 85,000 people. And Gorbachev, I got to hang out and meet Gorbachev, and Putin was there. But, you know, nobody's Beatle-proof, like they said in Yellow Submarine. You know, everyone who comes up to Paul, whether it's Putin or Gorbachev, is sort of, you know, has that dumbstruck moment where they just might put their foot in their mouth, you know, everybody. Well, as you know, I recorded a record called Mondo Magneto on my own little label called Hooray, now available on Nova Tunes for those of you tuning in. And, you know, it really came about because after working with Paul for years, I had a little bit of dosh in my pocket, you know, saved a couple ducats, and I had been getting questions from fans of his and now fans of the band, you know, where's Brian's solo stuff? And I just thought, you know, yeah, where's my stuff? I've been a songwriter forever, and I just thought I'd go and start recording some music, and that's how it came about. You know, it was just fans asking, where's my solo stuff? It's the biggest change in the record biz since I've been on the planet, you know, really, because somehow going from LP to CD didn't feel as different as going from CD to digital, you know. And it's exciting. It's an exciting time. It's a little bit sad and depressing sometimes what happened with the labels, what's going on with the labels, you know. But it also opens up these opportunities for innovative new ideas. People like Novatunes, you know. That's the most brilliant thing about Novatunes, to be able to offer 5 different formats to download, you know, giving people their choice. That's an amazing, you know, option to have. You know, it's an exciting time, I think. I'm just looking for the opportunities. I'm always an optimist, so I'm looking for the new opportunities here and new ways to get music out there. 2, 3, 4. I drove from Ohio with my LPs in the back of my dad's old car. I don't miss the car and I don't miss home, 'cause they both were falling apart. I'm fine. Oh, I never should have left the records in the trunk the night they were stolen away. They never let me down when my old man wouldn't give me the time of day. Where's my vinyl, my LPs, they're everything to me. I'm lost without my golden